dawn over Okinawa rose slowly, a fragile, trembling light filtering through a sky heavy with the promise of violence. The island seemed almost serene from a distance, its rolling hills and dense forests painted in hues of soft green and gold. Yet beneath this deceptive calm, anticipation coiled like a serpent ready to strike. The beaches shimmered wet with tide and dew, each grain of sand imbued with the silent tension of impending chaos. Thousands of soldiers disembarked from landing crafts, the pounding of their boots against the wet sand almost drowned out by the roar of naval artillery. Every movement was precise, rehearsed, but in the minds of men, doubt and fear crawled alongside determination. Across the surf, the Japanese defenders crouched in concealed positions, eyes sharp, ears tuned to the faintest rustle of a step. Fingers tightening on rifles and machine guns, each soldier prepared to transform the island into a labyrinth of death. The first hours were an orchestration of fire and smoke. Battleships offshore unleashed torrents of shells that ripped through sand and earth, creating massive craters and sending plumes of dust and debris skyward. The sound was deafening, reverberating through the bones of every soldier, a persistent drumbeat that announced the war to come. American units advanced in staggered formations, carefully timing every volley and movement, yet the terrain resisted them. Hidden pits, jagged rocks, and hastily constructed fortifications turned each forward step into a gamble. Japanese snipers, masters of concealment, exploited every shadow, their rifles spitting death with mechanical precision. The island itself seemed complicit in the carnage, twisted perception, and forcing soldiers into ambushes that tested not just skill, but instinct, courage, and raw luck. By mid-morning, chaos had engulfed the landing zones. Infantry units collided with entrenched defenders in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Smoke mingled with steam rising from wet sand and craters filled with shattered wood and twisted metal. Grenades exploded in rhythm with rifle fire, while mortars sent shrapnel screaming through the humid air. Every fallen comrade altered the mood. Every scream sharpened focus or froze it with terror. Soldiers pressed forward, sometimes dragging wounded allies, sometimes stepping over the bodies of those already claimed by bullets or blades. The dense vegetation provided both shelter and trap, with Japanese forces using caves and hidden tunnels to strike unexpectedly, vanishing before the Americans could retaliate. Each engagement became a microcosm of the larger war, a cycle of advance, ambush, counterattack, and survival. The afternoon brought relentless escalation. Hills and ridges, previously verdant and quiet, were transformed into charnel grounds. Flamethrowers and grenades cleared positions that had held for hours, yet each victory revealed deeper networks of entrenchments, caves, and tunnels. Every step upward toward a ridge was met with gunfire from hidden niches. Every push through a forested valley risked booby traps and concealed machine gun nests. Soldiers' senses were stretched to their limits. Hearing became acute. Every snap of twig or distant murmur a potential threat. The humidity clung to skin, sweat mingling with the acrid scent of gunpowder and scorched earth, creating a haze that blurred friend and foe alike. Men learned quickly that survival demanded not just training, but an instinctive, almost preternatural understanding of the environment and the unpredictable enemy within it. Kamikaze attacks from the sky added a layer of terror unlike any other. Planes screamed overhead, trailing fire and metal, diving into naval vessels with a singular, destructive intent. The explosions shook the earth and sea alike, creating waves that slammed against the beaches, threatening to sweep away men and equipment. On the ground, soldiers momentarily lifted their gaze from entrenched foes to watch the spectacle, understanding that the sky could be as deadly as the earth beneath their feet. Each ship struck or damaged sent a ripple of panic through troops relying on naval support, forcing commanders to constantly adapt, issuing orders with urgency that only amplified the sense of imminent peril. By evening, the terrain had become a fragmented nightmare of fire, smoke, and mud. Hillsides were scarred with shell craters, forests blackened and silent save for distant gunfire. The American advance had slowed, not for lack of determination, but because each meter of land had to be earned through relentless, bloody effort. Soldiers, exhausted, moved with mechanical precision, eyes wide, hearts pounding, limbs numb yet responsive. The Japanese defenders, despite dwindling numbers, inflicted devastating losses, using every tunnel, pit, and ridge to maximum effect. Booby traps, snipers, and sudden assaults created an ever-present specter of death, each encounter testing not just skill, but the resolve to continue forward amidst the constant presence of mortality. Night brought a grotesque, surreal clarity to the horrors of Okinawa. Fires from burning equipment cast flickering shadows over the scarred landscape. Patrols moved cautiously through ruined villages and forests, aware that unseen ambushes awaited in every shadow. Sporadic gunfire echoed across the hills, mingling with the cries of wounded and dying, creating a chilling symphony that amplified fear and sharpened resolve. Sleep was a distant memory. Every rustle, every breath of wind, every flicker of light could herald a sudden, violent encounter. Soldiers learned to navigate by sound, smell, and intuition, relying on instincts honed through fear and necessity. As the days stretched on, the battle consumed all who remained. Every ridge taken demanded planning. Every cave cleared required courage, bordering on madness. Exhaustion pressed upon both sides, yet the fight continued with unrelenting intensity. Suicide charges, hidden snipers, and the ever-present network of traps ensured that no advance was without cost. Terrain became both ally and adversary, with steep cliffs, muddy gullies, and labyrinthine cave systems dictating the flow of combat. Soldiers fell, yet new waves replaced them, determination and duty driving human bodies beyond natural limits. Every bullet, every explosion, every scream became part of a rhythm of terror and resilience that defined Okinawa. By the final days, American forces had cornered the remaining defenders into isolated pockets. Each advance was measured, deliberate, and costly. Survivors were pushed into caves, tunnels, and ridges, fighting until collapse. The screams of dying soldiers and the silence of the dead created a haunting counterpoint to victory. Exhausted men pressed forward through mud, blood, and ruin, their senses dulled yet sharpened, driven by the knowledge that any hesitation could be fatal. The Japanese defenders, though nearly spent, maintained an unyielding determination, each act of resistance a testament to their skill and resolve. Every inch of the island had been contested, every forward movement exacted a price measured in human suffering. When the dust and smoke finally lifted, Okinawa was a transformed land. Hills were flattened, forests reduced to ash, villages destroyed, and coastlines scarred by relentless bombardment. The remnants of combatants on both sides bore physical and psychological marks that would last a lifetime. Fires flickered in isolated pockets, carrying shadows over the ruined terrain, reminding any observer that this island had been a crucible of human endurance, terror, and courage. Every echo of gunfire, every ripple of wind across the beach, every whisper through the trees told a story of sacrifice and survival. Okinawa had become a theater of legend, a testament to human ferocity and ingenuity, a place where courage and terror intertwined to create a story of endurance, horror, and the fragile nature of life amidst the machinery of war, resonating through generations as both a warning and a narrative of indomitable will.